Hi, and welcome to this week's Reset. A few years back, I had a friend. We had a lot in common. I met him through another ministry that I was serving at. He was a fellow fisherman. He had come from a background of video work for a corporation, and we really hit it off well. We did a few projects together. We did a project at the bridges of Madison County. We actually went on fishing trips together. We got to know each other's family, and it was a really great friendship. And over the years, we became Facebook friends, of course, as most people do who become friends, sharing photos, sharing stories, sending pictures of the fish that we caught, things of that sort. And then one day, I went to send him a message. I couldn't find him on Facebook. I thought, oh, shoot, maybe he's off Facebook. So I did a quick search, and I found that he was, in fact, still on Facebook. Well, I thought maybe something had happened. So I sent him a text. I got no answer. So a few weeks later, I ran into him at church, and I said, hey, what's going on? I noticed we're not friends on Facebook anymore and you're not answering my calls. Well, he kind of lit into me a little bit, and it was over, unfortunately. I guess in retrospect, I maybe made a mistake and I put a political statement or a political belief on my Facebook, which really set him off in a negative sort of way. And he told me that he was very offended by my views, and he was very, to the point that he was really almost angry at what I had to say. Well, I was really taken back. The interesting part of this is, gosh, in the 3 years that we had a friendship together, I can't recall ever having a disagreement or an argument with him up until this point. So his final thing that he said to me, he goes, you know, the kind of thing that you said on Facebook is something that I would not allow into my living room, or I would not allow into my life. So I was starting to get the inkling and starting to get the feeling that our friendship was over. And that is exactly what happened. It was a very hurtful situation for me, and I started trying to think, are there ways that I can repair this? Tried a couple of times, and unfortunately I had to finally accept the fact that we were no longer friends or going to hang out. And I started thinking about our relationships in general. And you know, most relationships are ended by anger and disagreements that cannot be resolved and cannot be reconciled. You just come to the conclusion that the friendship ends. Well, that's the way most relationships move on. I said last week that over our lifetime, the average person comes in contact with about 8,000 people. And I want you to think back a little bit about what your friendship base or friend base is now. Most of you, some of you maybe, but most of you do not have 8,000 people that you have relationships with on a daily basis. relationships come and go. Sometimes it's just time, sometimes people move away, or as I stated before, sometimes you have differences or you have a moment where you determine that you no longer want to have that relationship. You know, there was a time in the Bible, if you remember the story of Job, and we don't have a lot of time to go into that full detail, but Job was a very righteous man that God honored and God took care of. But the forces of evil were allowed to take most of everything that Job had away from him in a test to see if he would be still faithful to God. Well, it did come to a culmination where he got extremely angry with God and just went off on God. But in the end, and if you get a chance, just read the book of Job. Job came to the understanding that God has ways of taking care of things even when we don't see the path that we're on, or when we just have to trust God in general. And I think about times in my life that I've made plenty of mistakes and come to the conclusion that, I think God is probably angry with me. God probably has a right to be angry with me, because I certainly know that there have been times in my life where I wanted a certain outcome that God did not seemingly deliver on, and I got very angry with him. But the difference is this: in 100% of the time, according to what we know about God through the Word and through our own relationships itself, is that God does not ever end the relationship. We are the ones that end up walking away. There's this old hymn, and it's called "What a Friend We Have in Jesus." And it really, as you go through the verses, it really talks about taking everything to God in prayer, speaking with him, having a relationship with him, building that relationship up. Because it's that strong relationship that we have with him that binds us together, just like any other people, our spouse or our friends. We really need to know God. And the way to know him deep is to read his word and be in prayer and just recognize all the things that God is. He will never walk away from us. So my challenge to you this week is this: realize that God is in it for the long haul. He's the one that brought you into this earth to have a relationship with you, and when all is said and done, he still remains. So, know that you have a friend in Jesus, that you have someone that will not forsake you. Everything can leave you behind. Our friends fail us. Our family, unfortunately, sometimes will even fail us, and even our spouses. And the hope is, of course, that we can reconcile and continue those relationships and repair those relationships. But just know that no matter how angry we get at God or how disappointed he may get in us, he gives a way for us to reconcile, and he will always be there with forgiving and open arms. What a friend we do have in Jesus. Have a great week, and I hope to see you again. Thanks for joining Reset.
God is in the morning, God is in the night, God is in the shadows, and he's in the light. I each instant, He's always by my side. I just say, my Lord, I wanna talk to you. Driving down this long road, I come to the end. Do I try to push on further or turn back again? Do I try to dig in deeper or try to trudge on through? It's days like these I need to talk to you. Moment to moment, year after year, He hears every whisper, sees every tear, and there's nothing that I really need or wanna do but to sit right here, my Lord, and talk to you. God is in the storm that can ravage your soul. He can wrap His arms around you and shelter the cold, lighting a fire on the shore to see you through. It's days like these we need to talk to you. Moment to moment, year after year, He hears every whisper, sees every tear, and there's nothing that I really need or wanna do but to sit right here, my Lord. God is in the backyard, God is in the car. He's in my music, He's in my heart. I don't need to take a number, so before each day is through, I can say, my Lord, I wanna talk to you. Moment to moment and year after year, He hears every whisper, sees every tear, and there's nothing that I really need or wanna do but to sit right here, my Lord. Just sit right here, my Lord, and talk to